So today we want to show you what you can do with the arsenal of dirt dog equipment and a small compact tractor. So as you can see here, you're going to see a couple spots in this footage where we go over what this used to be behind me. So you can see that behind me here you've got this big hill and a lot of thicket and a lot of just heavy garbage, I guess is what I would call it. So what we did here is that we wanted to turn this into a food plot. So with the use of these attachments, this is what we created, and we've pushed everything around here to make it so that way the deer are going to come into this plot. It's good shooting. As you can see, the deer stands over in the corner there. So we just want to show you what you can do with this arsenal of attachments and some of the product as it works. So you can see what we've started with over here. This second layer of grass over here is actually clover we planted earlier in the year to see how it was gonna come through with the dirt the way that it was. We didn't go through all the work of doing the soil samples and stuff like that. This was really just good old-fashioned hard work to get this into this type of condition. And you'll see why here in a couple minutes as far as what we ran across when we did this. So up here you can see the clover had come through here, and then we've got some oats through here that we've just recently planted that we finished up now that we know that this is going to be a decent amount of soil. I mean, this is really turning crap into crop. And I mean, as the years go on, this is going to get better and better as we kick the rocks out, as we do a better balance of the soil levels, and as we're just able to start a little bit earlier in the year without having to do so much work with these implements. One of the big things we did here is we really tortured these pieces. And I call it tortured because this material that was in here, this was more or less a dump area for a local gravel pit where they would dump all their debris and their excess stuff, the stuff they didn't want. And so we thought of this is a great spot where the deer come through and where they're able to pass through here right by the neighboring property. And we wanted to make sure that this was nice and flat, again, for good shooting. We've got some stands around it. And just the fact of being able to work this land with this tractor, this compact tractor, and turn it into a deer mecca is really what we're looking for here. A reason for them to come to our property. So I want to show you some of the things that we ran across. And this is some of the stuff that we haven't already thrown away, but you've got some steel in here. You've got an abundance of rock. I mean, this is probably the medium rock versus the small rock. And then, you can see what we've run through here with the brush cutter. So the brush mower on the back here, we got chunks. This one got cut in half. We put this thing through the ringer. As far as you'll see some of the footage of what we've run across and the things we've done. We've actually got a giant rock pile over here that we've picked after we tilled. So I want to go over to the implements that made this process really, it was a lot of work, but there was a lot of property here to kind of clean up and get back into where we could plant it. First of all, everybody's favorite brush mower. So we went through this. This thing's been dinged up, banged up. We let some of the younger kids run it to help get them into this. And, I say younger, 15, 16 years old, being able to run this equipment and seeing what it's all about with the deer hunting and put the work into when they're gonna go hunting. So we let them, they have really no experience in running this equipment. So that's how easy this is to run and to turn something like this into with these implements. So we banged around with this. You'll see, we had this type of cover here. Now, one thing we didn't do here that we probably should have, but we didn't spray any of this. We literally came out here, mowed it down, and then we did a bunch of other stuff as far as cultivating to rip the soil up to get some of these debris to come up to the surface. So this was the hero in the beginning, just to clear it so we could even get in here and drive around with the tractor and get it to where we could kind of see what we were dealing with. So we got in here, we cleared all this out. We moved the dirt around with some of the piles in the bucket and the loader, because there was some pretty high piles. As you can see, there's some bigger hills back there. And then what we did after that, there was a heavy amount of, native grasses and weeds and just overall stuff that the deer didn't want to eat. So we took this first through here and we went through this and ripped the soil up in a couple different patterns. We went straight back and forth, and then we crisscrossed it with a 40 horsepower tractor. Again, the average of what a person would normally have to do something like this. And it had plenty of power and it was able to rip through the soil, and it's important to match your implements to the size, horsepower, tractor, width, things like that you have. So as far as when we pulled this through, We ripped it out. We pulled some of the bigger rocks out. Trevor will show you the rock pile later. It's probably about this big, some bigger rocks that are out there that we've had to roll into the bucket and take care of. So that was our first pass with this. And then we did take the disc through, and we disked the top of it a little bit more to try to pull some of that soil and pull some of that rock and just kind of more or less pull some of the dirt into the low spots and also pull, take it out of the high spots. So once we did that, we got that all cleaned up. We went through with the tiller, and this tiller got absolutely crushed with rocks. I mean, you can see the rocks here that got hit with the brush mower. We didn't go through after the brush mower and pick rocks. We went through with the cultivator and picked the big rocks, and then we went through here with the tiller, and I cannot believe this thing is still in one piece. It's really a testament to how strong this Dirt Dog product is, because I mean, we mashed it. I mean, there are rocks everywhere. I mean, even if I just walk around in this little spot here, you've got some small rocks here, you've got a bigger rock here. Again, that's gonna take time to pick all these out, and we raked a whole, I think 3 or 4 buckets worth out that we've already picked before we planted this. So we really took this thing through and ran it through. We only had to do a single pass as far as just cleaning it up. We did do a couple spots where that, on the edges where we weren't able to reach that we did with the tiller. We did do 2 passes there on the edge of it. A quick pass with the tiller not all the way down, and then another pass with it down deeper. I mean, so we got into the soil pretty well here. As you can see, we planted some of this, but I mean, I can dig my boot down right in here now, 3-4 inches in this ground, and now I've got some nice dirt to work with that was definitely not there when we started. So this thing was really a hero of what, and a testament to what we could do here with this implement. Because some guys only have 30, 40, 10 acres, whatever it is. This is a small chunk of property here, but we're able to turn this what I would call crap into a good feeding spot for deer very easily with these implements. So once we got through here with the tiller and we mashed all this up and we got the rocks and we picked some, then we went through here, and one of the reasons, before we actually picked rock, the medium sized to larger rock, we did pick some of that out, but we used the rake here. And so we used a landscape rake and angled it one direction and ran it back and forth across here, pulling some of these. You've still got some of it left because again, we didn't spray. But we've got very little here for what was here. We haven't actually removed any of the grass that was here. We again cut it, and then we ground it up with the tiller and cultivated it and mixed it in with the soil so it can deteriorate. But we use this to pull through and get some of the garbage, at least to level it out, so it moves a little bit more with it, actually gets into the soil. So, and then obviously too with the rocks, now it's a lot easier to pick because now they're in rows. You're able to rake them off to the edges where you're not going to plant. So after that, we went through and it was nice and level. We had good, nice seed bed to drop everything into. And then over here, our last step was this Cultipacker. So we took this after we went through and seeded. We just literally took a broadcast seeder and walked along, a little old-fashioned way. Again, how you would normally plant a smaller property. Not in much room in here for big equipment. Not going to bring in a big seeder. So we brought in this after we spread the seed out. We just planted oats in this area because it's a little bit later in the season. It's got to be able to get to full growth before deer season, so that way they have something to munch on. So what we did here is we just took this along and ran it back and forth across so we got good soil compact. We've had this planted for, I don't know, probably 10 days. And it's starting to come through. The problem we've had is we haven't any rain. But this stuff came up really well over here, and I guarantee we're supposed to get rain tomorrow. This will start coming through also. So I guess the biggest thing we're trying to show here is the fact of what, with a small arsenal of attachments, maybe it's even 1 or 2. It's the tiller and the mower, or you're doing it, maybe you're renting one piece. But as far as how these pieces all work together to create something that was that and turned into this. And now you've got this nice open shooting area all done with these implements. And in the hardest, I mean, some of the toughest conditions I think that are out there. I mean, with all this garbage. And it's like I said, we didn't move anything out of here. We literally just took it down, and these attachments took it head on. These implements just crushed it, held up. We're gonna take them back to the shop, do a little bit more work with them, mowing around the shop and stuff like that. I mean, they're still in great condition. after the amount of work. So this tells me for years to come with this type of, this type of testing that these are gonna last for a long time. So we talked about the debris that were out here that we put these implements through. I mean, you can see the amount of, this is just one load of rocks. We've got them kind of scattered here throughout the plot on the edges, but I mean, something like this is what that tiller dug out of the ground there. I mean, that's a big, solid, heavy stump. Same with this big rock here. Another one piece that was pulled out. You can see the marks here from where the brush mower connected on it. Just this is the type of crap that was in here before we started working with these implements that had to be removed in order to be able to plant this successfully. For more information or to find your local dealer, visit dirtdogmfg.com.